What's up, guys? Welcome back to Balance Tuned, and today I've got a full set of the Random Booster Volume 29. Alright, now that we're all stickered up, this is what they all look like. So we've got the Prize Bay, Chain Kerbeus, Fortress Yard Dash 6. Then we've got Chain Ragnarok, Tapered Excel Dash 10. Dynamite Kerbeus, Legacy Moment 9, Cyclone Valkyrie 2, Giga High Eternal 3, Drigger V2, Over Wedge Dash, and then we have Roar Spriggan, Fortress Kick 2. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and test some of these parts out because there's a lot of new parts, and then I'll just come back and let you guys know what I think of each part and how they performed. Alright, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, so I tested out all the new parts. I'm not going to put any of the armors in here because they don't matter, and I'm not going to put like Wedge Dash or Yard Dash in here because they're essentially the same parts as the other stuff. So let's start out with Kerbeus. Definitely very solid as a core. It's got good burst resistance. It's pretty tight. Definitely something that if you want to run an attacker, it's probably going to be one of your best options. And even as stamina, it's probably really good. Like, I would still probably use the Belial 2 chip from Divine Belial because of the remake of the mold over this. But at the end of the day, if you need to safe without worrying about them bursting, like if you're worried about burst resistance for right spin, definitely go with Belial 2 and Kerbeus. Next, let's talk about Chain. So Chain's it's a pretty interesting layer. At first I looked at it, I didn't think it was going to be good because of the shape, because it was kind of aggressive. But then when you put a regular chip in it, all of these little flappy boys come out. And it actually then becomes relatively good for opposite spin stamina. I didn't like it in my same spin testing. Like, it did okay, but I probably would not use this for same spin. I would use this more for opposite spin. And we actually tried it for attack. It's okay as an attack layer, actually. It's just very, like, but you have to use Kerbeus core with it. If you don't use Kerbeus core with it, these just all come out and then it becomes more round, so it's not really doing anything. You need these to kind of be able to go in, so then like this here hits the Beyblade as an impact point. So it's definitely not like good as an attacker, but it's probably better than some of the other right spin attackers that we've had. I just would probably use this more as an opposite spin stamina bay. Like for like a LED drift, if you want to make a right spin drift combo, this is probably right up there with Prominence. Next, let's talk about Drigger V2. So I didn't fully test out Drigger V2 because honestly, like unless you're putting it on like a drift combo, for standard format, this is not going to cut it in anything unless you're just putting over drift on it or a Giga Drift or something like that. But if you want to talk about it in other formats like GT, I think this will definitely be good as like a good upper attacker, maybe even a okay stamina. I have to test it for stamina. We didn't really do any GT testing, so yeah, overall, it's probably a good layer for those other formats. Standard, though, this is not going to cut it. Next, we'll do High Eternal. I was really excited for this driver. It performed pretty much exactly how I anticipated. For me, this driver was insane spin stamina. Like, I would probably put this higher than High Extend Plus when it comes to same spin. Maybe about even with Bearing, But when you get the opposite spin, this thing is garbage. Like, it's just, when you look at this slope here is too steep. So when this goes and it leans over, it's leaning way too far to get to this point. Whereas bearing doesn't have to. Bearing probably only leans like this far. So this is definitely one that, like, I don't like this for opposite spin at all. I definitely love it for same spin though. Probably tapered is probably the best disc with it when it comes to the game. Like, just like with bearing, I personally like tapered more than anything else. I think this would benefit more from tapered than any of the other DV discs. And now let's talk about Fortress. This is probably the part that I was most excited about, on par with High Eternal. Like, these two parts were the ones I was most excited about. Fortress is definitely a top tier disc. It's got the weight to it around it's around Giga's weight. It's got a nice, almost circular shape, just kind of more like a hexagon. But it's just like Giga in that aspect. It's Giga, just more of the weight is in the center than it is on the outer rim, which is fine. I was really liking this on Never. Never was doing really good on this, so I think that's where I'm going to keep this at. I'm going to keep this with the Never driver. I don't think I would replace this for Over or Tapered, though. When it comes to High Extend Plus and Bearing, I think I'd keep them on Over for High Extend Plus and Tapered for Bearing. But anywhere else, I think this is fine. This is also probably a good attack disc. I didn't really test that, but with all the weight in the center, it'll probably keep the Beyblade more in the stadium rather than let it wig out or just go right out into the pocket. So I do need to test that out. Alright, so that's what I think on these competitive parts. It's definitely a set I think that is worth buying when most of the new parts are worth playing. Like, they all have a space. So keep that in mind. I do have one other thing I want to test out, and I'll get back to you, and that is the core for sprigging. I've noticed that it seems to be easier to get that last click in than it was previously. So I'm going to see if they have like an updated mold on this. Other than that, like, Wedge Dash, I guess, is technically a new part, but it's not. But I don't really care too much for Wedge. That'd be my boy Sniper. He'll have to let you guys know how that is. Probably in the podcast with James from 4 Gaming. We'll probably talk about that when we get to finish our interview with him. Alright, anyway, please rate, comment, subscribe, and let me know what y'all think of the new random booster. If y'all have any combos or any testing that you have done with this and you want to let me know what you found and I can try to replicate it, please leave that in the comments below. Alright, see ya.